Hey everyone, welcome back to my kingdom. In today's video, we are going to do an isopod tour. If you don't know what isopods are, most likely you just don't know them by the isopod name. They're also known as roly-polies. I know it sounds a little odd that I collect isopods, but there are a lot more to them than you think. Like normally you just see them as a little brown or black bug that rolls into a ball, but there's actually a ton of morphs available and different species to collect too. My collection started in around 2018 or 2019. I got some dairy cows from a reptile convention just to start a bioactive. I did put them into the tank that I was going to make bioactive, but then I ended up taking that tank down and I gave them their own bin, and then after that I just started collecting more and more of them. So I do keep my little roly-poly farm up here on top of the leopard gecko rack, and I have around 10 or so species right now. So I wouldn't say I have a ton of isopods, but I have enough just to call it my collection. And I do plan on expanding them as well. So since they are higher up, I'm not going to bring you guys up there. They are stacked too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you guys right behind on a little tripod right here, and then I will bring them down and show you guys. Okay, let's get to it. And here we are. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of the first bins. I normally try to grab them in stacks, but the lids aren't, they're not held on, they're just laid on top, so I do have to be careful when I bring them down. And I have two tables right here, which I will put the bins on, and then I will get some isopods out and bring them closer for you guys to see. So I'll normally carry them down in 2 stacks, just because they are pretty heavy and I definitely do not want to drop any of them. In this first bin, I have what I pronounce as Porcelliо spatulatis. These ones are a little bit on the larger side, but they are flat and gray. So I'm just going to bring you down there. And then normally I can find them upside down on one of the cork pieces. And here they are. So these guys are the Porcello spatulatis, and they actually run pretty fast, but they're staying still now. I have these ones in a smaller bin just because I did only get a culture of about 8 of them, so I'm giving them time to breed, and then if they ever outgrow it, I will move them to a larger space. In the next ones, I have the Porcelainornery. These are another flatboy species. They are gray too, but they do have a little white rim around them. Here's one of the first ones I found. And put that guy back, see if we can find any more of them. They normally do prefer to hide together in one spot. There's another one. And then here is the last piece of cork bark. There you go, there's 3 of them. Okay, there's those guys. These guys I have in one of the larger boxes just because I did get more of them. I pronounce this one as Armadillidium, the marbleized species. And they are one of my favorites. So these guys are on the smaller side, but they definitely do have really fun coloring to them. This guy's trying to run away. And they're basically living up to their name. They're just marbled. Let me see if I can find you guys some more of them. So this species, or morph particularly, I find more on the substrate than the cork bark itself. And I'm not going to dig them up just so I don't disturb them, but that is another species that I have. And then I also have these guys in a larger bin too. I want to say they're Parakite. I say parasite sometimes. I have no idea what anybody is called. So these guys I do have a good amount of. They start off lighter when they're younger, and then they do darken when they turn to adults, that I have noticed. There's a good amount here. think I started with about 12 of these ones and I have probably around 50 now. So those were the last ones in my first row. I'm gonna put these ones back up and then get the next row down for you guys. So I have gotten the next row down, and these are probably one of my most popular species. They are cubaris rubber duckies, and usually anything cubaris wise, they are slow breeders, so they are a bit harder to come by. And I only have about 6 of these guys as well, so it might be a bit harder to find. There is one right here, right by my finger. I want to see if I can get you guys a close-up so you see why they're called rubber ducky isopods. I usually have to go digging just because there's so few of them in here. So I do have a few on this rock right here. There's 3 that I can see, and you can see a little rubber ducky face. Okay, I'll put these guys back in. And the next ones I have are zebra isopods. They basically look exactly how they're named. Usually zebra isopods have straight stripes across just like zebras actually do, but those are higher grade ones. So lower grade zebras normally have spots in them. Their stripes are incomplete, but if you want to breed that out, you can find the ones with stripes and then put them all in a bin and just eventually breed out higher grade zebras. Let me try to find you guys a piece of cork with a lot of them on there. So I have one guy right there. And you can see that's a pretty good grade zebra, and then you got one of the smaller ones at a lower grade. I've had the zebras for a bit longer than the other guys, but they don't seem to be doing so well in breeding. I'm not sure if it's what I'm feeding them or the environment I have them in, but it would be nice to have a lot more zebras. Okay, so this is going to be the last spin in the second row, and these are cubaris Panda Kings. Panda Kings are actually like one of the most successful species I have in terms of breeding. I started with maybe 6 or so, maybe 10, but then I do have a ton of them now. Let me see if I can find a piece of cork with a lot of them. Here you go. I'm just going to carry that up so you guys don't have to... Oh, and they're falling. So they look just as they're named. They are panda looking. Okay, so my camera's about to die. Let me just change the battery. Okay, so I changed the battery, got you guys back. That was the end of the second row. I'm going to go ahead and climb up, put these guys back, and then I'll get the third row down for you guys to see. So I got the third row down. I actually only have 2 cultures in that row, and we're pretty much about halfway through. Like I said, I don't have a ton of isopods yet, but I will be getting more eventually. So these are my magic potions. They're from the Bulgaria line. I actually have 2 cultures of magic potions. I have the American line and the Japanese line. The difference between them is that the American line doesn't have as much color, but they're still just as fun. The Japanese line has more spots of the black and yellow to them. So this is the box of American line ones. You guys can see how they don't have as much color. These ones are younger, so they're not going to have as much color as adults in here too, but just in general, they don't have as much color as the other ones. Those were the American line magic potions. I actually have the Japanese line up in the 4th row, so I will be showing you guys one more culture of isopods before I get to those ones. So in here I have the Armadillidium sandstone. These ones aren't too special, but I like them just because they have like a gritty texture to them. They are just gray, but they are a little bit on the larger side for isopods too. So I have one right there, and then I have another piece of cork bark. They're usually pretty evenly split between the two. Alrighty, let me get these guys back up and then I will bring down the last two. The last row actually only has 2 species, so we're pretty much almost all the way through the collection. I only have 2 bins. The third bin on the 4th row is actually just springtails. It's my largest culture I have, but they're not isopods, so I'm just gonna leave them out. But if you don't know what they are, they're basically like a smaller cleanup crew for bioactive tanks. So here are the Japanese line ones. I'll show you their color and you can see how they do have more patterning than the American line. If I can find any, I guess. Okay, here they are. So these guys have more speckles to them than the American line. Okay, put them back. And these ones are gonna be the last ones I have, which is ironic because they are the first ones I got. In this bin I have dairy cows. You can see why they call them dairy cows, because they're spotted just like cows. I think this is my only species of Porcelio laevis, because I don't want too many because they do breed fast and they eat a ton of food. They run really fast. Where'd that guy go? Oh, he went through the hole. This guy's super cute. He's like really nicely spotted. So that is the end of all of the isopods I have. I only have 10 species currently and we went through all of them. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer it. Again, it was just a tour, so I was just showing you guys the isopods I have, but I can try to answer any care questions. If you guys want a separate video on that, I can make that too. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Bye everyone!